Welcome back to Birds of a Feather. This is your daily Baltimore sports podcast. My name is Nathan Stroud, and today we've got some stuff to go over today. We've got the Orioles game to go over. The Orioles game literally ended like 5 minutes ago, so we're filming this episode right after the Orioles game. Initial post-game thoughts and reactions. And this game has pretty much been over for like almost 3 hours now, because this game was over after the first half inning. But obviously, we're gonna wait to the end of the game to go over it. But the Orioles lose today. They lose 15-3 to the New York Yankees in Game 2 of their first of many matchups this season. And the Orioles lose 15-3. Kyle Gibson made his season debut, and it probably couldn't have gone worse for him. And then some guys out of the bullpen, including Charlie Morton, were there. People in the bullpen didn't play great as well, and the offense was pretty much just flat and dead. But at the same time, I can't really blame them because of how bad the start was. But it was pretty much just a complete disaster of a game. So this episode might not be too long because, again, there really wasn't anything to go over positive-wise. Gunnar Henderson hit a home run, which scored one of the 3 Orioles runs. The Yankees hit multiple home runs this game, and it was a disaster from the very start. The Yankees hit back-to-back home runs to start this game. It went Grisham to Judge to Rice to Bellinger, so it was pretty much a disaster from the very start. But let's get into this box score. Going over and looking here at the box score of the game, just recapping the game in general. The Orioles lose 15-3 to the Yankees. The Orioles record is now 11-18 on the year, so they're back to being 7 games below 500, just like they were going into yesterday's game. And obviously, this series is tied 1-1 in the first initial opening series against the Yankees, and the rubber match will be tomorrow at the same time. And tomorrow we've got Cade Povich pitching, so it might not be a great game for the Orioles, but we'll see what happens. It'll be pretty funny if they actually win the series tomorrow, just because of what happened today. It would be funny if they can come back and win tomorrow, but we'll see. You never know what can happen in baseball. Obviously, things can just get crazy and out of hand. But the Orioles today, very, very one-sided game. The Yankees put up 19 hits and scored 15 runs and also hit 6 home runs in the process. And the Orioles had 3 total hits and scored 3 runs while hitting 1 home run in the process. The Orioles offense also struck out 11 times, 0 for 4 with runners in scoring position. But again, I'm not even going to blame the offense here because, it was 6-0 going into the third inning, and it was 5-0 after the first inning, so I don't really want to blame the offense here because it kind of just took the air out of the stadium and just took the air out of the team, and there wasn't a lot of motivation within the hitters. And that's been a problem a lot this year with the Orioles and the starting pitching. But just going over the offense real quick, multiple guys had hitless games. The only players that got a hit this game were Gunnar Henderson, who had his solo home run, and also Jorge Mateo got a hit, and Jackson Holliday got a hit. So only 3 hits today. Everyone else went hitless. If you look at the averages for these Orioles players, none of them really stand out at all. Just not a great game. Not a great game at all for the Orioles. Still dealing with injuries to Colton and Jordan, and obviously Eflin and Kittredge and Grayson and Kyle and Tyler Wells, and it's all this stuff. It's just crazy. One cool thing to see this game, though, was that Colton Cowser is back out in the dugout with the team. So at least he's present and, in the moment and, there with the team. While he's not playing on the field, at least he's there in the dugout supporting his guys. But, there really wasn't a lot of supporting and cheering today for the Orioles. But going over to the pitching, because this is really where the disaster was today. Every single Orioles pitcher gave up a run. We had 5 total pitchers in this game. Every single one of them gave up a run. And, let's just start off with Kyle Gibson. Kyle Gibson played for the Orioles back in 2023. He was a guy who when he was on, he was really on, and he had excellent starts. but when he was off, he was really off, and he would just get rocked. So, but he was a guy in 2023 who just ate a lot of innings and, went far into games, and it helped out our bullpen. Maybe not necessarily for that game, but for future games. And he was very valuable to the Orioles, and he also collected, I think, 15 wins as well on his record in 2023. So he was just a valuable guy. He was also a veteran, fan favorite. People in the clubhouse loved him. He left in 2024 to go join the Cardinals, where he didn't have a great year last year. From a wins standpoint, he had less wins because obviously the Cardinals did worse than the Orioles did in 2023. But from an ERA standpoint, his ERA was about the same, and same with the innings pitched and the strikeouts and stuff like that. But Kyle Gibson, he's 37. He was a free agent going into this season, and nobody picked him up in the initial wave of free agency. He kind of, still stayed on, the free agent market, and obviously the Orioles needed pitching because when you look at all the injuries, you look at the Eflin injury, you look at the Grayson injury, the, Tyler Wells injury, Kyle Bradish injury, Andrew Kittredge injury even, the Orioles pitching was dealing with so many injuries, so it kind of felt like a no-brainer to kind of go reach out to Kyle Gibson and see if he wanted to, have a little fun reunion with the Orioles and come back. So we signed Kyle Gibson to start the year. He played over in AAA. He only played in 12 total AAA innings before we called him up, and we had to call him up just because we were in such a desperate need for that fifth pitcher. And also with Charlie Morton doing bad. So, we felt pressure to call him up early just because we needed him so badly. I don't blame the Orioles for calling him up so early. But again, they wouldn't be in this scenario really. One, for the injuries, but also if they went out and actually, took their time and, made an effort to sign or trade for an ace of this team that could really hunker it down. But anyways, that's a whole conversation for another day. But Kyle Gibson in this game, this was his season debut for the MLB season debut for the Orioles this year, and also a little bit of a homecoming from 2 years ago. And I was really excited to see Kyle Gibson get the start. If you heard my podcast yesterday, I was talking about how I was really excited to see how Kyle Gibson did. And I don't think it could have actually gone worse for him today. He goes 3.2 innings. Gives up 11 hits, 9 runs, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts, and 5 home runs in a 73 pitch count across 3.2 innings. His ERA in his first initial start is a 22.09. So yeah, that happened. And Kyle Gibson gives up 9 runs, 5 home runs, including back-to-back home runs to start this game. Grisham, Judge, Ben Rice, Goldschmidt, not Goldschmidt, Trisham, Judge, Ben Rice, and Bellinger. Wasn't back-to-back. It was back-to-back. Goldschmidt got an out, and then Bellinger hit a home run. So in his first 5 batters, he gave up 4 home runs, including 3 home runs to start the game in his first 4 pitches. So it was very tough game for Gibson. I really don't think it could have actually gone any worse for him. And then we brought in Matt Bowman, who got through 1 inning, and he still gave up 3 hits and 3 runs. And then after that, we had to bring in Charlie Morton coming out of the bullpen. This is the 3rd time in his career that he was coming out of the bullpen. So Charlie Morton, again, has always been a starting pitcher, but obviously he's been, pretty horrible this year. But and I would say this is one of the positives of the game. Charlie Morton comes out, pitches 2.1 innings, gives up 3 hits, 1 run that was unearned, and a walk and 2 strikeouts. So technically, Charlie Morton didn't give up an earned run this game in 2.1 innings, and he actually dropped his ERA down to a 9.45. And I know I'm saying dropped his ERA to a 9.45 because a 9.45 is still a horrible ERA. 0.1 innings and gave up 0 run. He did get into a little bit of traffic. He gave up 3 hits. He had a 43 pitch count across 2.1 innings. So it wasn't, completely clean for Charlie Morton, but it was definitely his best outing of the year. Including all the starts as well, obviously. So it was a little encouraging to see Charlie Morton go out there and do that. Hopefully he can bring this type of energy back to his starts because I think today I don't think him coming out of the bullpen today really changed anything with him starting. I think we only had him come out of the bullpen just because the rotation was just weird. So yeah, Charlie Morton didn't necessarily have a horrible game. Cionel Perez, 1 inning, gives up an unearned run, and then Brian Baker gives a run. But I mean, the game was over. The game was really over after the first inning, after the 4 home runs and 5 runs given up by Kyle Gibson. It's just a really unfortunate game. Just a really unfortunate scenario for the Orioles, and I mean, yeah, just a big loss for them today. They do play tomorrow in Game 3 of the rubber match, so winner of this game takes this series, the first of many series that these teams will play this year, and it's going to be Carlos Carrasco versus Cade Povich. Both pitchers have struggled heavily this year, both pitchers with an above a 5 ERA, so I'm expecting this game to be high scoring on both ends. And we'll see what happens with that because, we'll see what happens. Carlos Carrasco 2-1 on the year, Cade Povich 1-2 on the year, both above a 5 ERA. And even with the Orioles' injuries to their offense, they have the guys who should still be able to, get on base and produce at-bats and produce long at-bats and be patient and just, produce runs in a good way, which they haven't really done a great job at recently. But, we'll see what happens tomorrow. I'll have an episode up tomorrow around the same time about this Yankees-Orioles game. And, there wasn't a lot of very positive things to talk about today with the Orioles just because it was just a blowout from the start. It was a little ridiculous to see it. But at the same time, at this point of the year, and we're literally like a little over a month into the season, and all I can sit here and do is just laugh kind of at the start. We've seen this so many times already this year, and it's a little bit ridiculous, but at the same time, there's nothing you can really do about it except just shrug and just move on to the next game. Game tomorrow around the same time. If they win the series, and then if they can win the series, hopefully they can just carry this momentum over to the next series and win that series against Kansas City this weekend. But we'll see what happens with that. And thank you guys so much for tuning into and listening to this episode of Birds of a Feather, whether you're on Spotify or YouTube. I appreciate all the support. If you're on YouTube, make sure to subscribe to the channel. If you're on Spotify, make sure to follow up on the channel as well. I appreciate you guys so much for all the support. This has been a really crazy first 28 episodes of Birds of a Feather. There's been a lot of stuff to talk about. Obviously, the Orioles have been one of the worst teams in the MLB, but also like one of the most funny and wacky seasons in the MLB so far as well, and also all the Ravens news going on as well with the draft and the off the field stuff as well, and just the other things going on with the Ravens as well. But it's been an interesting start to this show. I'm having a ton of fun doing it, and obviously I plan to keep this going for a while, and for as long as y'all let me do this. So I appreciate you guys so much again. Y'all have a great rest of y'all's night. I'll have an episode up tomorrow right after the Orioles-Yankees game, talking about the game, recapping what happens, and hopefully we can get a series win tomorrow against them. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.